Hi, this is Charlie and Rich, and we're back with the Light to My Path coaching series, where we're going through each of the 5 steps and 20 exercises of the Light to My Path transition workbook. Today we're on page 28. We're beginning step 1, which is your mission, bridging the gap from military civilian life with God.
Thank you, Rich. One of the things that we need to remember is that in the military, we were very, very structured. We were told what to do. We were told, given our instructions for our mission. We were told not to come home till the mission was done. And so there was a lot of sacrifice in completing that mission. As you're transitioning out into civilian life, there is no one to dictate to you or to direct you in that other than yourself. So the largest challenge that you may face is having to depend on yourself and your daily activity and how you think about this transition process in order to become successful. In the military, it was highly structured. You had superiors that you needed to answer to. Our mission was not to ask any questions, but just to do what we were told and to be the best at what our jobs were.
So the solution to bridging that gap is a well-planned personal roadmap. Proverbs 21:5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead to profit as surely as haste leads to poverty." So the purpose of this book is to help you build the skills and the ability and the habits to build a real successful roadmap. When we wake up each morning, we should thank God for our life. We thank God for how we can serve Him that day. As Charlie says, anytime our feet are on the ground, we're standing up, it's a good day. So that's what this book is about, is to show you how to get from point A to point B in as direct a fashion as possible without meandering around or being tossed to and fro.
Exactly. Thank you, Rich. One of the things that I found when I left the Marine Corps in 1971, the number one thing I wanted to do is have a couple of months of R&R, a little rest and relaxation. And I had a few challenges that I needed to deal with, and I worked through those. But the point that I want to make is that you need to take time from a very, very structured environment, whether it's 2 years, 4, 10, 20, 15, or 30 years, to relax, take a deep breath, because this new journey as a civilian is going to be very exciting based on the exercises that you're going to go through. And you will have, this book will help you become very strategic in every area of your life. And the roadmap, as Rich just said, it's think of a rudder on a sailboat. The rudder and the wind against the sail helps you journey through the seas. So metaphorically speaking, a strategic plan in this book is like that rudder. It'll help you strategically plan your new journey as a civilian moving forward.
On page 32, Jeremiah 29:11 and 12 is one of our favorite scriptures. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future. Then you will call upon me and come and pray to me, and I will listen to you." So through the journaling and the exercises and the meditation on the Word of God with this book, this is in fact what one of the goals is, to be able to get on the same page with God, so we can fellowship with Him and develop that life plan together. On page 34 is a picture of the personal development iceberg, and I'm going to ask Charlie to share that with us.
Okay, thank you, Rich. When we think about the iceberg in the ocean, research shows that 10% above the waterline, in other words, what you can see out there, as it relates to you, the world and people can see you through the 5 senses. You talk to them, they smell you, they touch you, you're shaking hands, going through life. What's most important about the iceberg metaphor is that below the waterline, the part of the iceberg that you cannot see is 90%. 90%. And how it relates to an individual, what is below the waterline in the ocean in an iceberg, 90% is what you have inside your head. The world will never know what you harbor in your mind unless you tell the world. And so as military people transition out, especially those that have experienced extreme conditions, whether it's combat or supporting combat, unless you work with what's in your mind in a smart fashion in this transition process, unless you do that, it's going to be a little bit difficult. So not only do you have to depend on your own internal strength, which really the Lord gives you, but you have to depend on the Lord, not only to give you strength each and every day, but also to give you wisdom and discernment in making decisions every single day.
And Charlie, God says that He has plans for us to prosper us and not to harm us. And on page 36, we talk about what is a great life. Have you ever thought about what is a great life? Well, to me, and as a believer, I think it's enhancing my walk and relationship with God. But at the same time, we want to be using our spiritual gifts and talents and abilities, and in those areas where we're most passionate. God has put the passion in our heart, and as we make progress, we can also be self-disciplined for time management and using our energies and being aware of procrastination and so forth. Balance is a really important ingredient to life, and we're going to be getting into that throughout the book.
Now, before we go, I just wanted to reflect on something Rich just said about on page 36 about, you can take a direct route from point A to point B. And we have to be very careful, because we have a little metaphor on page 36, and you'll read it and interpret that to see how it resonates with you. Most people in life meander through life without a plan, without direction, without a North Star, without spiritual strength, and you don't have to do that. I did that for many years right after the Marine Corps. I had a few demons that I was dealing with. I have a couple that are in the periphery, and they're almost gone. I'm still working on those, right? But don't meander through life without the Lord giving you strength, right? Maybe the spirituality part of your life is just to ask the Lord, turn your problems over to the Lord. He'll help you with those. I mean, truly, He will help you with those.
Thanks for that, Charlie. And we started looking at the role of optimism in a happy life in our research on page 38. And it's interesting because, Jesus said, be of good cheer. And we know it says, think about what is holy and righteous is good. And the Bible talks about only saying things that lift people up. And it's interesting because you hear people talking about science catching up with the Bible, right? So we know that from research, from our studies, research has shown optimistic people live 7 years longer than those who are not optimistic. Optimistic people out-earn by up to 3 times those who are not optimistic, regardless of their SAT scores. Optimistic people are healthier, and the heart is not as stressed. And about 87% of illnesses can be attributed to our thought life, and approximately 13% to diet, genetics, and environment. So whether we choose to be optimistic or pessimistic, have an abundance mentality or a victim mentality, it has a direct impact on how we feel and how we interact with others.
Exactly, and that is all research-based. Dr. Marty Seligman, who we met and worked with in 2006 while we were at an international summit, has really been concentrating on positive psychology for the last 15 or 20 years, and there's much research to back this up. So, there was nothing theoretical and nothing that is not proven and time tested. It's all scientifically based.
Thanks, Charlie. On page 4.